Ever wondered why Amish communities seem friendly yet distant when dealing with outsiders? Behind polite smiles lie strict rules governing every English interaction, from never inviting outsiders home to prohibiting English friendships, marriages, and even casual meals. These invisible boundaries protect Amish culture while allowing necessary business, revealing the tension between engagement and separation. Never invite English into homes. Amish homes are reserved for community members only, with English visitors admitted only for specific business purposes like repairs or medical care. Never social visiting. Why? This seems unfriendly connects to modern culture, valuing hospitality extended to all, regardless of background. Their reasoning protects family sanctity from worldly influence entering sacred domestic space. How strictly this gets enforced varies, but business meetings happen in barns or porches rather than living spaces. Teaching children about boundaries includes understanding that home is for Amish only, not being rude, but maintaining essential separation. Modern confusion about their friendliness stems from them being warm in public while maintaining strict private separation that English interpret as rejection. Maintaining formal address. Never becoming too familiar with English requires using formal titles and surnames always, avoiding casual friendship development. Using Mr. or Mrs. with all outsiders maintains linguistic distance that prevents intimacy, even with longtime business contacts after decades of interaction. Why this prevents relationships deepening connects to casual speech, leading naturally to casual relationships, while formality maintains proper distance. Their specific protocols include always formal address with outsiders, never first names unless absolutely necessary, and children being especially formal. Modern business culture expects first names from initial meeting, while their resistance represents deliberate rejection of relationship-building techniques that would compromise separation. Teaching children proper address involves correcting informal speech immediately. Never eating meals with English. Avoiding shared meals with outsiders reflects understanding that meals are intimate family and community events, not shared with those outside their faith, except when business absolutely requires it. Why meal sharing matters connects to breaking bread, creating bonds, with sharing food representing fellowship. How this affects business means declining lunch invitations and not inviting English to stay for dinner. Teaching children includes never eating at English friends' homes. The exceptions for business necessity include negotiations at restaurants and market situations. Modern expectation assumes feeding guests represents basic courtesy, while they maintain separation through meal restrictions. Limiting conversation topics. Discussing only necessary topics with English means avoiding personal conversations, never discussing faith or theology, and keeping all interactions focused on practical business matters. Avoiding personal conversations prevents the sharing that creates intimacy, while theological discussion might lead to questioning of faith or defending beliefs in ways that compromise humility. Their specific restrictions limit conversation to weather, business transactions, and practical matters only, never family details or personal struggles, and absolutely no discussion of church matters or internal community affairs. How this affects interactions means conversations staying surface level always, English neighbors or business partners feeling kept at deliberate distance, and inability to develop deeper understanding despite years of interaction. Teaching children conversation limits involves training in what can and cannot be discussed with English, and recognizing when topics become too personal, requiring conversational redirect. Modern communication expectations assume sharing personal information freely as relationship building, with vulnerability and openness valued as paths to connection and understanding. Their protective information control keeps personal life completely private from English, preventing worldly influence through limited sharing that seems secretive or suspicious to outsiders. The exceptions with trusted English, who've proven respectful over long periods, still remain limited compared to openness within Amish relationships, demonstrating that even best English relationships maintain clear boundaries. Never accepting rides. Always paying English drivers for transportation represents maintaining business relationships, not friendship. Never accepting free transportation that would create obligation and indebtedness. Never accepting free transportation applies even to neighbors offering rides to town or helping with medical appointment transportation without expecting payment. Maintaining business relationships, not friendship through payment, prevents the casual favor exchange that characterizes modern friendships built on mutual assistance. Why this matters so much connects to free favors creating obligations and a sense of indebtedness that leads to English influence and compromises independence. Their strict payment protocols include negotiating rates in advance before accepting rides, paying immediately upon arrival at destination, never on credit, and ensuring fair compensation for driver's time and gasoline expense. How this affects transportation needs means establishing relationships with regular drivers for medical appointments, shopping trips to distant stores, and other necessary travel, while maintaining a strictly professional paid relationship. Teaching children about payment necessity involves understanding that no free favors from English are acceptable, with money preserving independence and preventing obligations that compromise separation. Modern friendship expectations view friends helping friends for free as natural, with rides being a casual favor among neighbors and friends, demonstrating care through practical assistance. Their rejection of this model maintains that payment prevents obligation while keeping the relationship professional and businesslike rather than intimate friendship. The regular driver relationships that develop over years remain professional but never personal, with the same driver serving family for decades while relationship stays entirely formal and transactional. Restricting business partnerships. Avoiding permanent business ties with English means limiting interactions to short-term transactions only, never forming equal business partnerships that would require shared decision-making and values. Short-term transactions like selling products to English customers or buying supplies from English vendors prove acceptable and necessary for economic survival. Never equal business partnerships reflects understanding that shared business means shared values, with English business methods potentially corrupting Amish ways of operating. Why partnerships prove dangerous connects to joint ventures, requiring compromise on Amish values, with profit pressures potentially leading to Sunday work, using prohibited technology, or other compromises. Their business limitations allow selling products to English customers freely, buying supplies from English vendors as needed, but absolutely no joint ventures or partnerships sharing ownership and control. How this affects economic opportunities means limiting business growth potential significantly, refusing potentially lucrative partnership offers from English investors or collaborators, and maintaining independence and small scale over profit maximization. Teaching children about business boundaries includes understanding that Amish work with Amish in partnerships, with English serving as customers or suppliers, but never equal partners sharing control. Modern business integration expectations view partnerships as creating mutual benefit through combined resources and expertise, with collaboration building success beyond what either partner achieves alone. Their resistance to integration values independence more than growth potential, viewing separation as preserving values that economic expansion would compromise. The exceptions with trusted English prove extremely rare and carefully structured, usually involving English who respect Amish ways deeply and accept Amish maintaining ultimate control over business operations. Avoiding English social events. Never attending English parties or gatherings means declining invitations to social occasions consistently, including neighborhood barbecues, holiday celebrations, or community festivals. Declining invitations to social occasions creates social tension with English neighbors who interpret refusal as rejection or superiority rather than principled separation. No neighborhood gatherings or celebrations includes missing 4th of July parties, Halloween events, Christmas celebrations with secular elements, or any social gathering in English homes. Why this creates social tension connects to English neighbors feeling rejected personally, seeming unfriendly or standoffish despite being pleasant in brief encounters, and appearing superior or judgmental about English lifestyle. Their reasoning for avoidance recognizes that social events expose children to worldliness through activities, entertainment, and conversations conflicting with Amish values. How this affects community relations means living near English families but maintaining complete social separation, offering friendly greetings in passing but never socializing beyond brief encounters, and English confusion about where boundaries lie. Teaching children event boundaries involves understanding why they don't attend English gatherings, learning to politely decline invitations without detailed explanations, and accepting that their social life exists entirely within Amish community. Modern neighborhood expectations assume community building happens through inclusive events, with integration and cross-cultural socializing valued as enriching everyone involved. Their prioritization of separation over integration views community as existing within Amish only, keeping English relationships at superficial level regardless of physical proximity. The rare exceptions for specific events include volunteer fire department activities, where Amish men serve alongside English, community emergency responses requiring cooperation, and school board meetings when Amish representation proves necessary. Never dressing like the English. Maintaining plain dress with all outsiders means never adopting English styles or trends regardless of context, ensuring visual separation at all times through distinctive clothing. Never adopting English styles or trends applies even in situations where Amish appearance draws unwanted attention, staring, or comments from English observers. Visual separation at all times through distinctive plain dress marks Amish identity immediately and prevents any possibility of blending into mainstream society. Why appearance matters so much connects to clothing, marking identity visibly, plain dress showing commitment to community values, and distinctive appearance serving as constant reminder of separation. Their strict dress codes remain consistent whether at home among Amish or in public among English, with children dressed plain always regardless of setting, and no modifications made for English comfort or to reduce attention. How this affects interactions means standing out visibly everywhere they go, enduring English, staring, photography, or insensitive comments about appearance, and maintaining identity despite social pressure to conform. Teaching children about dress standards includes understanding why they look different from English peers, developing pride in plain appearance rather than shame about standing out, and resisting any temptation to modify dress for acceptance. Modern pressure to fit in makes blending socially much easier, with conforming to mainstream fashion allowing participation without drawing constant attention. Their resistance to conformity treats visual identity as non-negotiable, regardless of practical difficulties or social complications their distinctive dress creates. Limiting children's interaction. Preventing friendships between Amish and English children involves prohibiting playing together unsupervised, limiting interaction to brief encounters at markets or public events, and ensuring Amish children's friendships remain within community. No playing together unsupervised reflects understanding that children left alone will naturally bond and share values, with English children potentially corrupting Amish children's training. Limited interaction at markets or events means brief encounters while parents conduct business, but never extended playtime, sleepovers, or friendship development. Why protecting children matters most connects to children being most vulnerable to outside influence, lacking discernment that adults develop, and English children exposing Amish to worldliness through toys, technology, and attitudes. Their specific restrictions include Amish children never visiting English homes under any circumstances, no sleepovers or extended play sessions with English peers, and all public interaction being supervised by parents. How this affects social development means Amish children having only Amish friends throughout childhood, learning boundaries from very young age through consistent enforcement, and English children being confused by apparent rejection of friendly overtures. Teaching children about friendship limits involves understanding why English children aren't friend options, maintaining polite distance in unavoidable encounters, and accepting that their social world exists entirely within Amish community. Modern integrated childhood expectations assume neighborhood children naturally play together, regardless of background, with friendships across differences valued as teaching tolerance and enriching children's experiences. Their protective separation approach limits friend groups to within Amish only, accepting isolation from broader peer group as necessary cost of preventing worldly corruption during vulnerable childhood years. Never marrying English. Absolute prohibition on English marriage represents the strictest and most consequential boundary, with no dating or courting outsiders permitted, and marriage only within the Amish church being acceptable. No dating or courting outsiders applies, even during Rumspringa, when other boundaries temporarily relax, with romantic relationships with English crossing lines that cannot be uncrossed. Marriage only within the Amish church reflects understanding that marriage to English means leaving the community entirely, since an English spouse cannot integrate into Amish life. Why this rule is non-negotiable connects to marriage fundamentally determining life trajectory, with English spouses making Amish lifestyle impossible regardless of convert claims or promises. Their enforcement of marriage boundaries includes certain excommunication for marrying English without exception, no compromises or accommodations for mixed marriages, and understanding that choosing an English spouse means choosing to leave the community forever. How this affects young people means understanding during Rumspringa that English dating remains forbidden despite other freedoms, recognizing that partner choice determines the entire future, and accepting the limited partner pool within the community as a constraint they cannot escape. Teaching children about marriage boundaries begins early with understanding that only Amish are potential marriage options, viewing marriage as preserving community through endogamy, and accepting that romantic love cannot override community membership requirements. Modern intermarriage acceptance treats marrying for love, regardless of background, as the highest value, celebrating diversity in families and viewing cross-cultural marriage as enriching rather than problematic. Their absolute rejection of intermarriage prioritizes community preservation over individual romantic preference, viewing English spouses as impossible to integrate regardless of willingness or effort.